Hi, we have Jaysen Chambers, a coach with Team Run Run based out of Chicago. And I'm Matt Urbanski with Team Run Run. And today we're going to be talking about the Chicago Half Marathon, which takes place at the end of September every year. Usually probably about 2 weeks before the Chicago Marathon, maybe a good tune-up race before you do the big race. But this is a local favorite, 6, 7, 8,000 people every year. And Jason's going to give us all sorts of intel so that you can be your best on race day. We'll talk about the course. We'll talk about some of the logistics that come with running a big city half marathon that starts right at sunrise, so you're in the dark. So Jason's going to be our expert and guide us through so that in 10 or 15 minutes, you can go into the race feeling just a bit more prepared than you were before watching this video. So Jason, welcome. Thank you for being on here.
Thank
And
you.
let's just dive right in. It's a 13.1 mile course. It's going to be a certified course, and it starts in Jackson Park. And just walk us through the course. What are the key things if someone wants to be mentally prepared for any of the sort of challenging aspects of the race, or have them ready to go? Talk about the course for us.
The first thing is getting there. It's dark when you get there. You have to plan your logistics to park or take a shuttle bus to get there. So make sure you give yourself plenty enough time to get to the start line. It is a very busy race. There are lots of folks there. It's very well organized, but you have to be expecting a large crowd. It goes off right on time. There's usually news coverage there as well. When the gun goes off, you run through Jackson Park, through the neighborhoods a little bit. You zigzag for about the first mile or so until you get onto Lakeshore Drive and head north towards Soldier Field, and you can see the skyline. Once you get onto Lakeshore Drive, it is pretty much a straight shot. The road widens quite a bit. You can settle into your pace. They have lots of pacers for whatever pace that you're trying to get. And the sun is coming up over the lake, beautiful, beautiful views. And you can see the skyline and the lake at various points. It kind of zigs and zags to and fro from the lake. So you're not running 15 feet from the lake, but you're on a main highway there that they have shut down. They have water stops, water stations about every mile and a half, very well stocked, lots of crowd support. If you have loved ones that want to come out and see you, since it's an out and back, you're going to go roughly 7.5, 8 miles and then turn around and come back. They can see you at least twice along the course when you're going out and when you're coming back. It's very flat, with the only exception being that turnaround hill where you go up and over an overpass.
Okay. And what we always have to give some perspective, because we have people in Team Run Run who are trail racers and they do mountain races with thousands of feet of elevation gain. But when you're running a flat half marathon, give us some frame of reference for this hill. How big is the hill, or like what if you're coaching someone who doesn't live in Chicago?
Yeah, it's probably 30 feet of an overpass, 35
Okay.
feet, your standard overpass where cars get off and can kind of go over and around. So it's not very long. It's probably less than an eighth of a mile
Okay.
in distance. And then you have the little downhill afterwards. And it's a good, there are a lot of people around that turnaround. I believe that there's a water station at right when you get off the hill as well, because it's pretty close to the halfway point.
Okay,
So
so you've got this little 30 maybe 30 foot pop up the overpass ramp, turn around and bomb it back down, and you're heading back towards the finish.
yep, you head back towards the finish, and it's such a beautiful course. And then you get to the beauty of an out and back is no matter where you are, unless you're leading the pack, you get to see the the elite runners, the fast runners, and it's very inspiring. Someone that's just kind of plugging along to see these guys go. And then when you make the turnaround, you realize, hey, I'm not in last place. There's lots of folks behind me. There's your fast runners all the way to your walkers, your power walkers. So you get a mix of everybody there. It's not a race where anybody should feel intimidated that it's too too big of a race. I'm not fast enough to run it, so it gets all different speeds.
That's awesome. And I imagine the finish area has got a nice like pull you to the finish kind of vibe, a lot of hopefully some energy there at the end.
Yeah, so the finish, the last half mile or so, you make a turn into back into Jackson Park, and they have this gold statue that you can see. And I teared up the first time I saw it. This was my first half marathon several years ago, and the the beauty of it, knowing that I could see the finish line, that I had accomplished something that was just a pipe dream, just a short period before that. And the crowds in Jackson Park are very, very big. So you cross the finish line. The finish area is huge. They have a live band playing. There's several tents with food vendors and beverage vendors. You can buy swag. There's a gear check. It's a party atmosphere there because they're playing tunes from dawn until the last person crosses the finish line, and you can hang out as long as you want. Hopefully, it's a good day. Chicago weather, you never know what you're going to get at the end of September. Could be raining, could be uh, freezing, or it could be hot. But if the weather's right, people are going to hang out there for a long time.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about the weather, and I grew up in the Midwest, so I know like end of September, it's a mixed bag. You don't know what you're gonna get, so I guess just be ready for anything and be adaptable on race day because it could be
Yeah.
really hot or it could be really cold. So roll with it.
Yes, yes. And the finish area is in a grassy area. Um, so it's great for setting up a picnic if you have loved ones that want to bring a blanket and just kind of hang out and listen to the music. I mean, it really is a good vibe. One thing I should say is the medals are ginormous. They're known for this one right here and this one right here. I mean, they're literally this big. They're the biggest medals I have in all of my medal collection. Um, and it's something that I think they're proud of
Yeah.
in being able to give to everyone. And they change them up every year as well. I think
Oh,
they've had
that's
a
awesome.
spinning one in the past as well. So yeah.
Very cool. Tell me a little more about the logistics. Like, not everyone is used to going to a big city race where you've got 7,000 plus people. And you said it starts right around sunrise. So to get there on time, you're maneuvering your way through the city in the dark. So yeah, just what are like the pro tips? How can someone do this as low stress and as simple as possible and get to the start line without too much anxiety? You don't want to waste your energy
Right.
worrying about
Yeah.
parking.
Their website has very good detailed information on the shuttle buses, where to park. There's, I think, 2 or 3 locations that you can park and take the shuttle bus in. I personally parked at the Museum of Science and Industry, where it's free parking, but it is close to a mile, probably a kilometer walk there in the dark. And you're not by yourself. Other people are doing the same exact thing. I think the parking lot's open like at 5 a.m. or something. So for me personally, I live about 30 miles from the city. I left probably 4:30, quarter to 5 in the morning, got there 5:15, 5:30, had plenty enough time to park, low stress. You don't want to rush on race day. Walked over to the start area. They have lots of porta potties. Found a nice place to kind of just hang out and relax for a little bit. There's some closed streets there so that you can do some warm ups if you want to do that, some stretching. Um, I mean, the biggest tip for a big city race is give yourself plenty of time. You're not going to park close to the start line. You're going to have to either take a bus or walk a good distance. And the secret is really just give yourself, and they close a lot of streets down too. So you want to make sure you give yourself plenty of time.
It's very good to know. And then at the start area, do they have corrals? Are they like based on projected time? Like, do you have to get there if you say you want to run fast, right? You're trying to run up, near the front. Do you need to get there super early to get a spot up front, or how does the start work with 7,000
Yeah,
people in the dark for a
yeah.
half marathon?
There were no corrals there. The para athletes started, I believe it was 5 or 10 minutes before everyone else, but then there were just really 2 start times, the para athletes and then there weren't corrals, but there were pace areas and flags set up so that you could line up where you wanted to go.
From when you run it, they didn't have corrals. It's kind of on the honor system. Like they're going to give you an idea of where, if you know where you think you're probably going to be, they'll let you be able to figure it out. So that works.
Right.
Okay. Cool. And I would just say, like, the vibe of the race, like it sounds like I mean, I've run the Chicago Marathon, but that's the only Chicago race I've run. This sounds like it would be a fun one to come to town, bring my family, hang out for the day. I don't know, just give me a little. Do they have food at the end? Do they have beer? Like, what's the finish line like?
Yeah. The finish line is a big party. Several different food tents, several beverages, beer, water, soft drinks, Gatorade. There's a big stage set up with a band playing. I believe there's a DJ as well. They have an official award ceremony for the age group finishers and the top finishers. It really is a party atmosphere. It was my first big race, more than a couple of hundred people, and it's a little bit overwhelming if it's your first one. It was in a good way, overwhelming. Like, wow, this is pretty cool. You're doing something with a whole bunch of other people. So it's definitely something that people put on their bucket list that live in the Midwest, and it's a big enough race that it's going to attract a lot of people. People come in from out of town. The packet pickup is you have to do that a day early. I think it's 1 or 2 days before the race. You can pay an extra fee and get it mailed to you, or I think even race morning, that's something we should check. You have to pay an extra fee, but there isn't a long line to do it because everybody goes beforehand. There's a big expo as well.
Nice. Well, it sounds great. I'm going to do a quick summary, and you fill in if there's any other words of wisdom to add. But I'm going to say, get there plenty early. Know that it's going to be a little bit of an adventure to get to the start line. Try and find the spot that you think fits where you're going to be in the race when you line up in a race this big. It's mainly flat until you get to the little pop of a hill up and over the overpass and back down, and then you're flat all the way to the finish. So pace yourself. This could be a race where you could really pace yourself well, and then be ready to finish strong when you see that gold statue at the end, like you're there. So push it home, right?
Yeah, I mean it's a beautiful race because in the beginning you're going out towards the city. You're headed north, so you see Soldier Field, you see the skyline, you see the lake, and it slowly gets bigger and bigger and bigger. You don't quite get to Soldier Field. You turn around right before Soldier Field, then you head back south, and it always feels good because now you're headed home. You're headed back to where you started. So you have the carrot in front of you of the big city, and then the turnaround of, okay, every step I'm getting closer to the finish line.
That's perfect. Thank you so much, Jaysen. And for anyone listening, Jaysen Chambers, coach of a Team Run Run. If you're interested in doing this race and having Jaysen work with you, we're going to include his coaching profile link in the show notes or whatever, the notes on YouTube here. And so you can catch up with him. And we also have a lot of other great coaches at Team Run Run, so we encourage you to check that out. But enjoy the Chicago Half Marathon, and now you know a little bit more to have a good day out there. Thank you very much.